things are about to get a whole lot bigger. Or should that be smaller in Marvel's Ant-Man? Hello everyone, it's me Ben Almaden and welcome to Entertainment Zone. I'm here today for my review of Marvel's Ant-Man. I actually saw this a few weeks ago, but I've only really had a chance to get around to doing a video to review it right now because I'm going away for a week or so shortly, and I've had to swap shifts around with work, things like that. Boring, but I'm here now for my review. Apologies also if the contrast on this video, or the darkness on it, is a little different to what it usually is. I've upgraded the laptop to Windows 10 and can't quite see the option yet how to change the contrast on the webcam settings, but never mind, we're here now. Okay, so Marvel's Ant-Man. I've got to say, I did enjoy Marvel's Ant-Man. Now, I went to see it with my 10-year-old sister, who was, very eager for me to take her to see it. And she thoroughly enjoyed it. She said it's in one of her all-time favourite films. She said Guardians of the Galaxy is still her favourite film, but she was really amused by Ant-Man. Now, for me, I enjoyed Ant-Man, but not as much as Guardians, obviously, but also not as much as, say, like Captain America or Thor either. Definitely better than like Iron Man 2, Incredible Hulk, probably Iron Man 3 as well, better than those. But there was just something lacking in it that I can't put my finger on that made me not enjoy it as much as Iron Man or the Captain America movies or the Thor movies or, of course, the Avengers movies. However, it was a solid effort and an enjoyable movie nonetheless. This film sees retired superhero, secret superhero Hank Pym, who has developed the Pym particles, which allow him to wear a suit that shrinks down to ant size, and to have the strength of an ant and communicate with ants. He finds his company being overtaken by the evil Darren Cross, who's trying to develop his own Ant-Man suit called the Yellow Jacket, and he's also taken over Hank's company. So he enlists newly released from prison burglar Scott Lang to become the new Ant-Man. And I've got to say, Paul Rudd as Scott Lang, brilliant. Perfect for casting for this movie. He brings Lang to life in such a cool way. And the other highlight of the film for me was Michael Douglas as Hank Pym. Talk about nailing the casting on this one. I'll be interested to see if in the future Marvel shows a younger Hank Pym, whether it's in an Ant-Man prequel or whether Pym shows up in like Agent Carter or something. But as the present day Hank Pym, Douglas was great, really great. His on-screen chemistry with Paul Rudd worked really well in the mentoring role, as did his chemistry with Evangeline Lilly, who plays his daughter Hope Van Dyne. Got to say, Evangeline Lilly as Hope, again, a great addition to the Marvel universe. Because she's another kick-ass, tough female role, very much like Gamora and Pepper Potts, not a pushover at all. And she holds her own in this male-dominated movie. She really does. And I've got to say, the storyline is quite enjoyable. And the movie really is how it was put to us by previous director Edgar Wright, by Marvel head honcho Kevin Feige, and your current director Peyton Reed. It really is a heist movie. It's something very different for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, but it works. It's something new, it's fresh. One thing I've got to say, it's not as comedic as I thought it would be. I thought it would be a lot funnier. That's not to say it isn't funny, but it's not as funny as I thought it would be. Certainly nowhere near Guardians of the Galaxy in terms of how comical it is, but it's enjoyable nonetheless. And I think audiences, young and old, are really going to enjoy this film. And I think people will really take to the character of Scott Lang and Ant-Man too. It's hard not to, you know. Michael Pena also stars in the film as one of Scott Lang's associates who helps out with the heist. And he does provide some hilarious one-liners. You know, he's the breakout comedic role in this. From the trailer, you've probably seen a Thomas the Tank Engine scene. That's expanded on even more, and yeah, that got a lot of laughs in the cinema. It was really cool. One thing I've got to say is Yellow Jacket wasn't the best Marvel villain. The actual suit and what it does is fantastic. But, you know, Marvel's kind of got this thing where, like, the bad guy in Iron Man is like a bad version of Iron Man, you know. And now in this movie, like, the bad guy is like a bad version of Ant-Man, you know. So rather than having a totally different villain and thinking, right, how do we use our unique powers against him, it's matching off against someone with the same powers. But yeah, the character of Darren Cross, Yellow Jacket, he's another, you know, evil businessman who then becomes a super villain. We've kind of seen it before in the Marvel Universe, but nonetheless, he's not bad as a character at all. And I've also got to say, though, Corey Stoll, he does play the character of Darren Cross well, but I think it's understandable why they went with Darren Cross as Yellow Jacket as the villain in this. It does make sense, but it'll be interesting to see how we move forward from that. The visuals of the movie are great. There's especially a sequence near the end which is quite trippy but very well shot, and the way the shrinking and enlarging is done, visually it looks awesome. And you know, obviously we all wanted to see Edgar Wright's Ant-Man, there's no denying it, but Peyton Reed, yeah, was a very, very good choice of director for this film. You know, I'll be very honest, when I heard Peyton was joining the movie, I was still a bit like, oh, really? But after seeing it, yeah, he's done a really, really cool job with the movie, and something to be proud of. And as I say, the heist movie element does bring something different to the superhero genre, because that is what Marvel's all about. They don't want to make a typical superhero genre by the book, you know, following the rules. Each film is something different, you know. Guardians of the Galaxy is like this intergalactic space comedy. You know, the first Captain America film's a war film, the second one's a political thriller, and now in Ant-Man we have a heist movie, and it works. For those of you who are familiar with Ant-Man in the comics, obviously Hank Pym was Ant-Man for the majority of the time before Scott Lang came on the scene, and Hank, of course, was married to Janet Van Dyne, Hope's mother in this movie. And Janet Van Dyne was, of course, the superhero known as the Wasp. Now, the Wasp features very briefly in a flashback in the movie, but actually in the movie itself she isn't in it, you know, in the main storyline. There's a good reason why. You know, when I heard before the film came out that Wasp wasn't a big part of the movie, I was quite outraged, but now having seen it, believe me, fanboys and fangirls, it works, the Wasp not being here. And it sets up so much more for the future of the Ant-Man series. The film has a mid-credit scene which sets up a sequel, very, very cool moment that I can't wait for. That's going to be really interesting. And there's also a post-credit scene setting up a future Marvel film. You will probably know what film that is, but I'm not going to say for those who are aware of it. But a badass post-credit scene that is going to start the hype train for a certain Marvel movie that's on the way soon. So I'm not going to really go into spoilers because I want you guys to see it. We may post a spoiler discussion video at some point. as I say, I did see this actually a couple of weeks ago, but this is the first chance I've had to get and make the video and get it on YouTube. But that probably means by now you have seen Ant-Man, so if that's the case, let me know in the comments what you thought of the movie. I'm hearing some people say it's one of the best Marvel movies of all time, up there with Guardians and with The Winter Soldier. Then there's people who saying I'm not really sure about it, and there's me who kind of placing it somewhere in the middle, which in my opinion is still quite respectable because Marvel's putting out some great stuff at the moment. Okay guys, remember, for the latest film and TV news and reviews, be sure to subscribe. You can also find us on Tumblr, where we update news quite regularly at entertainmentzone.tumblr.com. I'm on Twitter at BLMaden, that's at BLMADEN, and we are on iTunes with the Entertainment Zone podcast. New episodes will be coming soon. Just search on iTunes for the Entertainment Zone podcast. Okay guys, take care and speak to you soon.